the latest episode of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After? Season 9 has sent fans into a frenzy. In episode 19, titled Loren as Friendship with Elizabeth, Yara Forced to Leave, the show dives deep into emotional confrontations, unexpected betrayals, and shocking twists that leave viewers questioning who can truly be trusted. Loren's decision to sever her friendship with Elizabeth and the forced departure of Yara has reignited debates across social media, and critics are calling this episode one of the most dramatic yet. The episode opens with tension simmering in the Florida household where Loren and Elizabeth reside. Viewers immediately sense a shift in Loren's demeanor. What begins as lighthearted conversations quickly escalates into arguments revealing buried resentments. The confrontation between Loren and Elizabeth dominates the episode. Sources close to the cast describe this moment as long overdue. Loren expresses frustration over Elizabeth's perceived interference in her personal life, citing moments where Elizabeth's advice crossed boundaries. The scene is charged with emotion, with Loren visibly shaken yet resolute in her decision to end their friendship. Meanwhile, Yara, who had been living with Loren and Elizabeth, faces a heartbreaking scenario. Due to an escalating clash of personalities and circumstances beyond her control, Yara is forced to leave the household. Cameras capture Yara's tearful farewell, underscoring the personal toll of reality TV life. Fans on social media have praised Yara for handling the situation with dignity, while many are criticizing Loren's actions. Loren's breakup with Elizabeth is more than just personal drama. It reflects larger themes of loyalty, boundaries, and trust. Analysts argue that this dynamic mirrors real-life friendship conflicts, amplified under the intense scrutiny of reality television. Yara's departure highlights another recurring issue in the series: cultural and personal differences. As someone navigating a new country, her struggles resonate with international viewers who identify with the challenges of living abroad and adapting to unfamiliar social dynamics. Social media erupted after the episode aired. Twitter and Instagram saw thousands of posts speculating about the fallout. Memes, heated debates, and heartfelt messages flooded online forums, demonstrating the episode's impact. Some fans defended Loren's right to establish boundaries, while others empathized with Elizabeth and Yara, who seemed blindsided by the decisions. Production insiders reveal that tensions between Loren and Elizabeth had been building off-camera for weeks. The emotional weight of filming, combined with constant media attention, created a pressure cooker situation. Sources report that producers encouraged the cast to address unresolved issues on camera, which contributed to the explosive confrontation. Experts in reality TV dynamics suggest that situations like these reveal not just interpersonal conflict, but also how individuals cope with stress, fame, and surveillance. Loren's decision, while dramatic, can be seen as a boundary-setting mechanism in a high-pressure environment. This episode sets the stage for significant shifts in group dynamics. Fans can expect lingering tension between Loren and Elizabeth and potential reconciliation attempts that may or may not succeed. Yara's exit may also trigger storylines exploring her life post-departure, creating opportunities for spin-offs or guest appearances. A reconciliation arc between Loren and Elizabeth could occur if both parties engage in honest dialogue. Yara might share her perspective in interviews, social media, or reunion specials, shedding light on her experience. Future episodes may explore the consequences of boundaries, friendships, and trust under reality TV scrutiny. The audience's response has been overwhelming. Episodes like S9E19 highlight the pressures of televised relationships. Loren's decision to cut ties can be seen as a protective strategy, whereas Yara's exit exemplifies the vulnerability of individuals caught in group dynamics. In one of the most emotionally charged and consequential episodes in the history of the franchise, the universe of 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, was irrevocably fractured. Season 9, Episode 19, titled Bridges Burned and Goodbyes Said, delivered a seismic shockwave, culminating in the public execution of a long-standing friendship and a gut-wrenching, forced departure that has left a family torn between two continents. The episode's climax, filmed during the notoriously tense tell-all reunion, saw an inconsolable Loren Brovarnik officially and tearfully terminate her friendship with Elizabeth Libby Pothast, citing betrayal and toxic family interference. The dramatic confrontation, fueled by accusations of business sabotage and a devastating leak of private messages, marked the definitive end of a relationship that fans had watched grow for years. Meanwhile, in a parallel tragedy unfolding in the humid Louisiana suburbs, Yara's American dream turned into a waking nightmare. After a prolonged and agonizing struggle to balance her life with husband Jovi Different in the US and her duty to her mother in war-torn Ukraine, a cruel twist of fate has forced her to leave the country. The heart-rending decision, fraught with visa complications and familial desperation, has cast a dark shadow over the future of her marriage and her life with her young daughter Mila. This landmark episode was a crucible of raw emotion, exposing the fragile foundations of relationships once thought to be unbreakable. From the stark, unforgiving stage of the tell-all to the quiet desperation of a suburban home, the cast was pushed to their absolute limits, leaving viewers breathless and debating the shocking fallout that will undoubtedly reshape the landscape of the 90-day universe for seasons to come. Part 1. The End of an Era. The Brovarniks vs. the Pothists. The tell-all stage is a place of reckoning, a sterile, brightly lit arena where a season's worth of simmering tensions, unspoken resentments, and carefully concealed truths are dragged into the light. For years, Loren Brovarnik and Elizabeth Pothist had been pillars of the happily ever after cast, their friendship a rare and relatable constant amidst the chaos of their respective lives. They were the 90-day moms, navigating the treacherous waters of marriage, motherhood, and reality TV fame together. Fans saw them as allies, a support system in a world that few could understand. Episode 19 shattered that illusion completely and irrevocably. The build-up cracks in the mommy influencer empire. The conflict, as host Sean Robinson meticulously unraveled, was not born from a single dramatic event, but from a slow-burning fire fueled by business, jealousy, and the ever-present drama of the Pothist family. The seeds of discord were planted in the increasingly competitive world of social media influencing, where both Loren and Elizabeth have carved out lucrative niches. Throughout the season, viewers saw glimpses of professional friction. A proposed joint venture, a line of baby products, had fallen through acrimoniously. Loren, known for her candid and unfiltered content about postpartum life and her 3 young children, felt that Elizabeth and her sisters were attempting to co-opt her brand of raw authenticity for their more polished, image-conscious family business, Pothist Properties and Company. It started feeling less like a collaboration and more like a hostile takeover, Loren explained, her voice already thick with emotion as a montage of their season's arguments played on the screen behind them. Everything I built, my community, my Loren's lemons, they wanted to absorb it. It felt like my story was just another asset for their family to flip. The tension escalated when Loren launched a successful solo line of merchandise. Elizabeth, prodded by her notoriously meddlesome sisters, began making subtle, passive-aggressive comments on social media, questioning the quality of Loren's products and implying she was selling out. The final straw, however, was a deeply personal betrayal that went far beyond business squabbles. The confrontation, "You let your family destroy us." Sean Robinson, sensing the gravity of the situation, turned her focus directly to the 2 women sitting on opposite couches, their husbands, Alexei Brovarnik and Andrei Castrovet, looking on like stoic sentinels. "Loren, there was an incident involving private messages," Sean began, her tone gentle but probing. "Can you tell us what happened?" That was the moment the dam broke. Loren's composure crumbled, and she began to sob openly. Alexei instinctively reached out, placing a comforting hand on her back. "She knows what happened," Loren wept, pointing a trembling finger at Elizabeth. "I trusted her. I confided in her about my postpartum depression, about my struggles with Shai and Asher, about things I wasn't ready to share with the world. Private things between friends." The episode then cut to a dramatic reenactment, showing screenshots of text messages. The messages, deeply personal and vulnerable confessions from Loren to Elizabeth, had been leaked to a prominent 90-day Fiancé gossip blog. The blog post twisted Loren's words, painting her as an overwhelmed and incapable mother, and it was clear the information could only have come from someone in her inner circle. "Those messages were screenshotted from your phone, Elizabeth," Loren said, her voice rising with a mix of hurt and fury. "And I know you didn't leak them yourself. But you let your sister Jen do it. You sat there while your family trashed me in your group chat, and you did nothing. Elizabeth, who had been shifting uncomfortably, immediately went on the defensive. That is not true. I would never. My sisters, you know how they are, they get carried away, but I told them to stop. Andre, never one to remain on the sidelines, interjected with his trademark bluntness. What is this? This is pathist family drama, okay? Always with the drama. We don't need this terrorizing of my wife. But Alexei, usually a man of few words, cut him off with a rare display of cold anger. Be quiet, Andre, he said, his voice low and steady, silencing the entire set. This is not about your family's drama. This is about your wife's loyalty. You talk about protecting your family. Loren was her family too. And she did not protect her. The climax of the confrontation came when Loren revealed her receipts. She had been sent screenshots from a source showing the Pathis sisters group chat, with Elizabeth as a participant. The messages were cruel, mocking Loren's struggles and plotting how to use the information to gain a competitive advantage in their influencer careers. Elizabeth's contributions to the chat were minimal, but her silence was damning. She had never defended her friend. You sat there and let them call me a bad mom, Loren cried, her face streaked with mascara. You let them laugh at my pain. Pain I shared with you as my friend. And for what? For a business deal? For a few more Instagram followers. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Elizabeth pleaded, her own eyes welling up. I didn't know what to do. It's my family, Loren. And that's the problem, Loren declared, standing up in a moment of final, heartbreaking clarity. It will always be your family first. And your family is toxic. I have to protect my family, my children, and my own mental health from that. I love you, Libby. I always will. But I can't be your friend anymore. We're done. We're completely done. The finality in her voice was absolute. She sat down, collapsing into Alexei's arms, her body shaking with sobs. Elizabeth sat in stunned silence, a single tear rolling down her cheek as the realization of what she had lost washed over her. The friendship that had been a bedrock of the series had crumbled into dust on the tell-all stage, a casualty of family loyalty and ambition. Part 2, A Forced Farewell, Yara's American Dream in Peril. While the tell-all stage was a theater of interpersonal warfare, a quieter but equally devastating drama was unfolding in a segment filmed just weeks earlier in Covington, Louisiana. Yara's storyline this season has been a poignant and deeply relatable exploration of the immigrant's dilemma, the pull between a new life and the sacred ties to the home and family left behind. For Yara, this conflict has been amplified 1,000-fold by the ongoing war in her native Ukraine. The unraveling, a mother's plea and a visa's threat. The episode opened with Yara and Jovi on a tense video call with her mother Olga. The strain of the past year was etched on Olga's face. Having fled Ukraine, she was now living as a refugee in Prague, and her health was deteriorating. She made a desperate, emotional plea for Yara to come and see her, expressing her fear and loneliness. I need you here, Yarina, her mother said, her voice cracking. I don't know how much longer. I just need to see you and my granddaughter. The call left Yara shattered. Her desire to move to Europe to be closer to her mother had been a major point of contention with Jovi all season. Jovi, whose work as an ROV supervisor requires him to be based in the US, has been adamant that their life, and more importantly, their daughter Mila's life, is in America. I get it, baby, I do, Jovi said, trying to comfort a distraught Yara. But we can't just pack up and leave. Mila is in school here. This is our home. We can visit, we can send money, we can do another long trip. But the situation had become far more complicated than just a simple visit. The episode revealed a bureaucratic nightmare that had cornered Yara completely. Her green card was up for a 10-year renewal, a process that had been significantly delayed. Her immigration lawyer delivered the devastating news. If she were to leave the United States while her renewal was pending, there was a significant risk she would not be allowed to re-enter. A new policy change aimed at processing a backlog of applications meant that her temporary travel permissions were invalid until the final renewal was approved, a process that could take up to a year. This is not real, Yara said in a tearful confessional, clutching a letter from US SIS. He says I must choose. Stay in America and wait, or go to my mom and maybe never come back. How is this a choice? They are forcing me to leave my husband or my mother. The agonizing decision. She is my mom, Jovi. The revelation pushed Jovi and Yara's marriage to the breaking point. A raw, emotional fight ensued, capturing the impossible nature of their situation. So you're just going to leave? You're going to take Mila and leave me here? Jovi asked, his voice a mixture of anger and fear. What do you want me to do? Yara screamed back, tears streaming down her face. My mom is sick. She is alone. She needs me. Do you not understand? She is my mom, Jovi. I have to go. I don't care about the green card. I don't care about anything. I will not let my mom be alone. The fight exposed their deepest fears. Jovi's fear of abandonment, of Yara finally choosing her European life over him. Yara's fear of losing her mother, compounded by the guilt of living in safety while her family and country suffered. The presence of their daughter, Mila, added an unbearable layer of complexity. And what about Mila? Jovi pressed, his voice softening into a plea. She is American. Her life is here. Her school, her friends, me. You're going to take her away from her father. This was the question that finally broke Yara. The scene cut to her sitting on Mila's bed, watching her daughter sleep. The reality of her choice became crushingly clear. Taking Mila to Europe for an indefinite period, with no guarantee of return, would mean separating her from her father. Leaving Mila in the U.S. with Jovi was equally unthinkable. In the end, a heartbreaking compromise was reached, if it could even be called that. Yara would go to Europe alone. She would leave her daughter in Jovi's care and travel to Prague to be with her mother, gambling everything on the hope that her visa situation could be resolved from abroad. She was, in effect, being forced to leave her American life behind. The episode concluded with one of the most emotional farewells in the show's history. Yara, her face puffy from crying, packed a single suitcase. The goodbye with Mila at the airport was almost unbearable to watch. Mommy has to go see Grandma for a little while, she told her daughter, her voice choked with sobs. You be a good girl for Daddy. I love you so much. I will be back so soon. As she walked toward the security gate, turning back to see Jovi holding a crying Mila, the camera zoomed in on her face, a portrait of pure anguish. She was a woman torn in two, forced by circumstances beyond her control to leave one half of her heart behind to save the other. Her future, and the future of her family, now hangs precariously in the balance, dependent on the cold, slow-moving gears of international bureaucracy. Part 3. The Undercard. Chaos, Counseling, and Cash. While the Loren/Elizabeth and Yara/Jovi storylines dominated the episode, the supporting cast provided their own signature blend of drama and dysfunction. Angela and Michael. The financial betrayal. In Nigeria, Angela Deem's volatile relationship with Michael Ilisami reached a new boiling point. After gaining access to their joint finances, Angela discovered a series of wire transfers Michael had made to his family without her knowledge, totaling several $1,000s. The discovery, made while she was snooping on his phone, led to an explosive confrontation. Angela accused him of scamming and using her, threatening to cancel the damn visa for good. The segment ended with Michael pleading for forgiveness while Angela packed her bags, her future with him once again in jeopardy. Big Ed and Liz, a glimmer of hope? In a rare moment of quiet introspection for the series, Big Ed Brown and Liz Woods were shown in a couples therapy session. For once, there was no screaming or storming out. They spoke candidly about their communication issues and their toxic cycle of breaking up and making up. The therapist gave them a series of exercises to practice, and the segment ended with the two holding hands, agreeing to genuinely try to fix their relationship. It was a fragile truce, but for a couple defined by chaos, it felt like a significant step. Fan reactions and what lies ahead. The social media reaction to episode 19 was instantaneous and overwhelming. Team Loren and Team Elizabeth became trending topics, with fans fiercely debating the tell-all showdown. While many sympathized with Loren, viewing her as a victim of the Pothast family's toxicity, others felt she should have been more understanding of Elizabeth's difficult position. The outpouring of support for Yara was nearly universal. Viewers expressed heartbreak over her impossible choice, with many sharing their own immigration nightmares. The raw, human tragedy of her situation transcended reality TV, resonating with anyone who has ever been torn between family and geography.